My name is Gasia, Mikaelian, and I'm coming to you through KTVU Fox 2 News in San Francisco. We are focusing on protecting older Americans through vaccinations. Not the COVID-19 vaccine just yet, but something we should all be getting every year. Let's talk more about this by welcoming Dr. Natasha Bhuyan, a family physician, to the conversation. Thanks for joining me, doctor.
Thank you so much for having me.
I am seeing signs popping up at just about every grocery store and pharmacy. Get your flu shot today. Is now the right time to do that?
It is the right time to do that. Now, what we found is that despite understanding the value of vaccines, a lot of older adults don't really know which vaccines they should get and when. And really, the flu vaccine is an important vaccine to get, especially now while we're in the middle of a COVID pandemic. You know, what we worry about as doctors is someone getting COVID and flu at the same time and potentially having a twindemic. And the best way to prevent against the flu is to get the flu vaccine now.
Can you break down some of the differences? Because when we talk about seasonal flu, it's, coughing, sniffling, body aches. But then when we talk about COVID, sometimes it can be those same things. How does someone know, oh, what I have is an early flu or the beginnings of COVID?
Right. Well, that really is the issue, is the symptoms that people have from the flu are very similar from the symptoms that people have from COVID. People can get fever, cough, shortness of breath, body aches, fatigue. And really, one of the only distinguishing symptoms is in COVID, we'll see people have a loss of taste or smell. And we don't really see that with the flu. But besides that, because there's such an overlap in symptoms, we really can't clinically distinguish what people have. And that's why it really is important people get their flu vaccine now. And if they have these symptoms, it's also important to see a PCP so we can do the right diagnostic testing to figure out exactly what you have.
A lot of people for months just said, I'm not going to the doctor, I'm not going to the dentist, I'm not going to get my eyes checked. But now that things are loosening up a little bit, and frankly, my eye doctor, her office was closed for months. It's now open again. So I've gotten my eyes checked. I have my annual physical coming up in a few days. People perhaps should be more aware of maintaining their existing health, along with preventing COVID.
Yeah, it's such a great point. That's exactly what we're doing as family physicians. So I know a lot of other family physicians right now, we're making it so that our doctor's offices are safe. We've got things like HEPA filters, mask wearing, we've got curbside check-ins, even virtual visits, because we want to ensure that our offices are safe to receive care, not just vaccines, but also your routine primary care that a lot of us family doctors can deliver right now. And one of the reasons it's so important is we know that COVID disproportionately impacts people that have underlying health conditions, things like uncontrolled asthma, uncontrolled diabetes. So it's really important to focus not only on preventive care, but make sure that we get our routine care, get all of our conditions under control. Because when we have that healthy community, we're able to fight that COVID virus even better.
I'm in a situation where I'm sort of the sandwich generation. I have two children of my own. My parents are in their mid-70s, knock on wood, fairly healthy, but still, I'm very concerned for their health overall, for them potentially contracting COVID. They told me that they left the house and they went to get their flu shots the other day. And usually anytime they leave the house, they say, Mom or Dad, I could have gone to Trader Joe's for you. I could have done that for you. But this time I said, you know what? I'm glad you did it.
Right. And I really love that we're prioritizing health. There are certain reasons that people should leave their home, and that's to seek medical care, vaccines, preventative health. One thing I do want to emphasize are vaccines are a selfless act. Not only do they protect you, they protect your loved ones and the community around you. And that's why it's so important that we all get our vaccines. And, you called out being in that sandwich generation. We know that there's an estimated 50,000 Americans that die each year from vaccine preventable illnesses. And that actually disproportionately impacts older Americans. And it's because, our immune systems get weaker as we get older. And so it's just as important for older adults to get their vaccines as it is for, your children.
I was very much sort of in the vaccine world when our two little boys were in their, 1, 2, 3, 4-year-old stages. Now that they're 10 and a half and 12, it's so few and far between that they're getting their vaccinations. My little sister had a baby last year, and she said, as many first-time parents do, a big long email to the whole family say, these are the vaccinations you must have in order to see my baby. And at first I thought, come on, this is a little excessive. But the more I thought about it and the more I talked about it with my family members, I realized, of course, I would do anything to protect this little baby who has no natural defenses. And it's almost sad to me that it took that email from my little sister to really put into sharp focus what we all should be thinking about all the time.
Yeah, I really love that story because that really does highlight that vaccines are a selfless act. When we all get vaccinated, we're protecting the people around us, the most vulnerable people around us, little babies, people with chronic conditions that can't get a vaccine. I tell people, when you do something as simple as just rolling up your sleeve, you are truly helping humanity and making a big difference.
Are there any other vaccines that you would like to put on our radar, either specifically for older Americans or things that, I'm in my mid 40s that perhaps because I'm not in that vaccine world that even I should be thinking about?
Yeah, so here's the thing. We found in our studies that 1 in 4 older adults are, entirely unfamiliar with the right vaccines for their age group. There's things like vaccines for pneumonia, for tetanus, for shingles, and people are not aware. And the reality is, it depends on your age and it depends on your own medical conditions, which vaccines are indicated for you. So I encourage everybody to see a family physician, talk about your health history, your family history, your own risk factors, and your family physician can really tell you what vaccines are right for you.
I think it's so important that people cannot lose sight of just sort of what I call your core health, because keeping this healthy through, healthy food, a little bit of exercise, just those basics that we hear over and over again, that protects you against any number of things. And I imagine from your doctor's standpoint, if I do get something, at least I'm a little better prepared for it.
Yeah, exactly. As a family physician, that is something that I'm prioritizing right now. So I always think about how can I create this community of immunity so that way if people do get sick, we're able to fight the COVID-19 virus. And that comes with, basic healthy eating, exercise, lifestyle. But in addition to that, how do we make sure that people are getting the right vaccines? And so that way we're not actually fighting multiple diseases all at once. And vaccines are a key part of that.
Is there anyone who should not be getting a flu vaccine this year?
It really, again, depends on your risk factors. Most people actually can get a flu vaccine as long as they're over the age of 6 months. And, historically, people might hear some myths about the flu, I can't get it if I have an egg allergy. And that's actually not true because there's lots of different types of vaccines, some that are egg-free, some that are preservative-free. So really there is a flu vaccine for everybody and, everyone should get that. The other myth I always hear that I have to mention, people are always worried that the flu vaccine is going to cause the flu. And that's not true. The flu vaccine is not able to cause the flu. But again, if you have any questions about vaccines, family physicians, we're happy to talk to you about them.
Is there anything else you'd like to add on the subject that I didn't have a chance to ask?
Yeah, of course. So if you want more information, certainly reach out to your family physician. And there's also a website, it's familydoctor.org/adult-vaccinations for more information about specific vaccines.
Okay, Dr. Natasha Bhuyan, thank you so much for joining us from Phoenix today. It was great information to hear and hopefully we will act on it as well.
Great. Thank you so much for your time.